the most important part of the VIN. Should have double lights.
Nothing.
What the f? I'm done. I'm so ready to go home.
In the world of automotive television shows, each studio and production company are always trying to find that new idea, that unique element that sets their show apart from the rest of the shows. Sometimes everything revolves around the ability to turn the biggest profit from unique builds and restorations. Other times, it is about showcasing some unique and creative ideas for customizations. But in each of them shows, each of the vehicles started off as something that at least had a little bit of life in them, whether mechanically or visually. But when it comes to vehicle restoration, we all know that there is a certain type of vehicle that you just don't choose to restore. It's the ones that have been rusted through, degraded nearly beyond recognition. Stay away from these, right? Well, don't tell that to shop owner Mark Worman from the show Graveyard Carz. In his view, there is no car that has passed the point of no return. This is what sets the show apart from the rest, the resurrection of forgotten and decomposed vehicles. Graveyard Carz, which airs on Motor Trend, is an American automotive reality TV show that features Mark Worman, who is also known as the Mopar Guru. Full of lighthearted humor and a certain amount of goofiness, Worman works from his shop in Springfield, Oregon to take old classic Mopars that have been given up on and left for dead and bringing them back to life. Mark has had a passion for Mopar vehicles for most of his life and has gained a reputation in the automotive world for his ability to resurrect the classic masterpieces. He started with a small 3-bay auto shop in 1985 and has blossomed that into a thriving business that also includes a film and television production company known as The Division. This is one thing that makes Graveyard Carz unique. Worman keeps all of the creative control of the show, but he is also smart enough to listen to production suggestions from the Motor Trend team. The main focus of the show is the restoration of vehicles from the late 60s to early 70s in the Chrysler Mopar family. He works alongside his daughter Elisa Rose, who appears in the first season as well as the fourth. He also works with a talented group of painters and mechanics that are referred to as the Ghouls, staying consistent with the show's premise and theme. The show is a very interesting representation of a classic automobile restoration process and business. Many of the vehicles have come back from being declared totaled or dead, dumbfounding many mechanics who believed that the restoration of such cars were impossible. However, it has been a very up and down journey, sometimes reaching a level where the show's future was in jeopardy. With so much momentum and such a unique concept, how did the show itself almost survive receiving the label of dead? Here are a couple of reasons why. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like to promote the channel. We are coming out with new videos all the time and would love to have you here. And if you watch until the end of this video, we'll tell you how to win a free MacBook Air.
What is that?
This is a driveline.
Well, I know it's a driveline. Why? It's not for this car.
Yeah,
Why would you paint it black?
You told me to paint it black.
Why would I have you paint it black when we never paint any of them black?
You're the Mopar guy, I'm not. You said we'll
That's
paint
right,
this
that's
driveline
right.
black.
I wouldn't say paint it
You
black.
said paint it black.
I'm not
It's black.
Mick Jagger. I'm not going to say paint it black.
Graveyard Carz had a hard time attracting new viewers. When it comes to TV shows and entertainment in general, one of the most crucial aspects that attract viewers who have never seen the show before is the title. You have titles such as West Coast Choppers, Diesel Brothers, Wheeler Dealers. All of these had titles that gave the viewer a clear picture of what the show would be about. However, when it came to studying the demographics of the show, it was found that few people tuned in because they read the title. Although most muscleheads would understand why the show had such a title, it did very little to attract people who were not usually interested in muscle cars. As a matter of fact, a lot of the viewers have reported that they thought the show's title was boring and unexciting. But it wasn't just the first impressions that almost did the show in. For the new viewers that did tune into the show, many seemed to not stick around for long. Much of this was the fact that the vehicles that were featured on the show are what they would call old school and were unpopular many of the current cars. To make matters worse, in the eyes of many new viewers, the lack of variety in the vehicles that were being displayed was a big hindrance. Worman was famous for his saying, "Mopar or no car." This is all well and good for those who have a passion for Mopar vehicles. However, while this motto may be a thing for those in the shop, it isn't necessarily a motto for viewers. While the show still airs and enjoys a certain level of success, it always leaves people wondering how much more successful it could be should it decide to restore other cars than the classic muscle cars it restricts itself to week after week. The show has switched between a number of different networks. When a show airs for more than a few seasons, it is not uncommon for it to be picked up by various networks. One will drop it for various reasons, and another will pick it up. This is even more true with automotive shows, as there are a number of networks across the world who are interested in these shows. After all, though, this is a genre of television show where there are not as many themes for the individual shows themselves. It's easy to repeat the same thing. That may be why Graveyard Carz has been through so many networks. It has come a long way since it first aired. The show first aired on a network called HD Theater. However, it quickly became obsolete and went off the air. Then, the show moved over to Velocity, Discovery's network for cars and automobiles. It enjoyed moderate success there until it came time for Velocity to be rebranded into Motor Trend. While this wasn't officially a network move, the title change in and of itself was enough to confuse some viewers, causing a bit of a drop in the number of people watching. In spite of all of this, Graveyard Carz has been keeping fairly steady numbers in recent years. It definitely isn't at the head of the pack, but its fan base is very dedicated, and is definitely one of the main reasons why it stays on the air.
Look at that. I love it.
I hate it. It's ridiculous. Okay, honestly, truthfully, can I put my car in here?
No. No, I'm not going to let you put your car in there. It's missing half its parts.
Well, hey, I got a good idea. Why don't you put Royal's Jeep in here? Put it in here.
He was here working on his Coronet.
Whatever, Mark.
Yeah, get a job.
There were accusations that the show was scripted. A lot. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. If there's something that everyone knows but no one really admits to, it's that reality shows aren't actually as steeped in reality as we think. From arguments to disasters, there's never any telling what is real and what is manufactured to bring a little something extra into the show. As it turns out, that's what was, and since the show is still on the air, what is probably still going on. Here's the thing about Graveyard Carz. The accusations were plentiful, and they largely came from people who had previously worked on the show. It was a mix of things too. Careful editing made it seem like some scenes were one way when in true reality they were another. Some other scenes were simply written in as if they were real life. When you think about it, it seems like a no-brainer. When you are tasked with taking the same types of vehicles week after week that were once deemed totaled, the content can sometimes get a little dry. At one point, there were so many accusations that the production team pretty much had to admit that things were being doctored in certain ways. However, they defended their actions and worded their explanations in such a way that it made it seem that they were filming a type of reality. For example, on a few occasions, it was admitted that there would be some sort of planned situation that would go wrong for a certain person. The entire cast would be made aware of this situation except for the person that everything was happening to. In turn, the production team insisted that those scenes were natural and realistic, because the cast members would retain and showcase their natural personalities and reactions to whatever situation was thrown at them. Yes, talking about it as we are now may turn quite a few people off. It definitely did at the time. But in the end, the show kept going thanks to their die-hard fans. Yes, there were a few times where things looked like they were going south for the cast of Graveyard Carz. But that's because there is one more trait of automotive shows that few other shows have. Their fans are nearly unshakable. Viewership remained relatively high, as did the demand. Season 13 began on March 16, 2021. Do you think there will be a Season 14? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching till the end of this video. As promised, to enter to win the MacBook Air, just subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Smash the like button and comment "No Crust" below, and that's it. We'll see you next time.